Let me restart that. All right, so I call to order the special meeting of the Atascadero City Council, June 1st, 2020. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fonzie.
Here.
Councilmember Funk.
Here.
Councilmember Newsom.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bourbeau.
Here.
Mayor Moreno.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Now, Luke, if I'm correct, there's nobody watching or listening, correct?
Potentially there could be. There is not right now, but this link was published on the agenda. So somebody might show up, but I don't have anybody in attendance right now.
Okay, so I'll just in case anyone pops on at any moment, I will just say if you're watching or listening, we do welcome you. And if you'd like to speak during the time set aside for community forum, you can let Luke know that, raise your hand, and you will be able to speak. I won't be providing a phone number because I don't think that will be needed. So we now go into the community forum portion of our agenda, reserved for persons wanting to address the council on this special meeting agenda. But the community forum is reserved for persons wanting to address the council actually this would be something not on the agenda this evening, but an actual community forum, and speakers are limited to 3 minutes. State your name before speaking. Are there any callers that wish to speak during community forum?
We do not have anybody online right now.
Okay. Are there any comments that were received by email to be read into the record?
There are not.
Okay, so I'll close community forum, and we will now move on to our public hearing, the Proposition 218 majority protest process relative to proposed increase in the wastewater sewer rates. And before we go to our Public Works Director, I will ask, have we had any ex parte? I'll just kind of go through the Councilmember Newsom.
No ex parte.
Councilmember Fonzie.
No ex parte.
Councilmember Funk.
No ex parte.
And Mayor Pro Tem Bourbeau.
No ex parte.
Okay, I've had no ex parte beyond we did receive an email that was CC'd to me with a protest, and we sent a response back. And so I do know that other than that, communication, I've had no other. So we will now turn this over to our Public Works Director, Mr. Nick DeBar.
Thank you, Mayor Moreno. Bear with me here for a second, and I'll hopefully get this going. This is always the most challenging part of these virtual meetings, it seems like. It's making sure I get the right slide shown. For some reason, hold on, I'm going to have to restart this real quick. Okay, I seem to be, oh, here we go. Okay. Does everybody see that, or?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so a little background on this item. On April 14th, the council reviewed wastewater rate study. The study was basically the same study we used last year for the rate increase, and really number of factors, key factors that are playing into this need to increase sewer service charges, rising treatment and energy cost, impacts of regulation and legislation, and then past and continued critical upgrades and or replacement of wastewater facilities and infrastructure. Cities has a $50 million CIP in the next 10 years, but this is also the second time, actually, that we'd be increasing the rates in 26 years. At that April 14th meeting, the council directed staff to, or they set a public hearing for June 1st tonight. They also directed staff to send out notices of the public hearing, the proposed wastewater increases. Those notices did go out 45 days ahead of today. And the ballots were mailed to 5,455 property owners. And the proposed increase for a single family resident or one EDU is proposed to go from $24.01 to $28.57. Here is currently comparison. As everybody, the council knows, public might know this too. We do not bill on water consumption during the winter months. That is the Atascadero Mutual Water Company has that information. They do not share it with us. So unlike some communities that have water and sewer as the purveyor, we are only the wastewater service purveyor. So we do this on a fixed rate based on empirical knowledge and traditional knowledge of knowing what a typical single family home would contribute to the sewer. Typically, on average, it's about 240 gallons per day from a single family home. So that's how a lot of these EDU multiples are determined. So anyways, you can see the single family home there, first line 2401 to 2857. Apartment is 0.75 of that, so $18 to $21.43, and down the way. So also below there are the non-residential fixed charges. None of these EDUs have changed from last year. City staff anticipates sometime in the next year, before next year, we'll be completing our volumetric analysis of these EDU table, and there'll be some changes. Probably not much on the residential fixed use or the fixed charges, but there will be some changes to EDU on the non-residential charges. I've shown this graph a few times. This is, but I think it's telling. And you know, back in '93 when the rates were changed, this kind of shows kind of if there was a CPI adjusted rate each year, and this is based on the Los Angeles Riverside CPI area, that how these rates would have increased. So if you look at that, and if we just went for cost of living increases, this the rate would be around $36.86 if we just didn't even touch it even last year and just let CPI increase. So that's about 54% higher than the current rate of $24.01. Another chart that we show is how do we compare to the other surrounding communities. You can see Morro Bay on top there. They're going through a really expensive new treatment plant and have some major upgrades and things to do. And you know, our current rates are among the lowest in the county, not the lowest. We're below Heritage Ranch on this chart. And even if with the increase, we are still going to be at the bottom of this chart with the other cities. And keep in mind, all these other cities are also looking at increasing their rates. So this table will continue to grow to the right. And this is in effect February of this year. So really quick report tonight. I know I've went through a lot of detail at the April 14th meeting, but recommendations tonight is to conduct a public hearing and open a public hearing to receive all written and verbal testimony regarding the proposed wastewater or sewer rates and consider the results of the protest proceedings in accordance with Proposition 218. And one thing I'll add that I maybe neglected to say early on, these rates that we're considering tonight are the monthly sewer service charges. So these are charges for existing customers that are collected on their annual tax levy. Second recommendation is to adopt one of the following resolutions certifying the protest results. So as part of Prop 218, you do need to have 50% plus one for a majority protest. So the draft resolution A is for non-majority protest, meaning less than 50%, which would certify that the number of valid written protests were not received from property owners representing a majority of the parcels subject to the proposed rate, or if there is 50 plus one, a majority protest, draft resolution B would certify that the number of valid written protests were received from property owners representing a majority of the parcels subject to the proposed rate increase. And then lastly, if no majority protest, in other words, draft resolution A is adopted, then draft resolution B can also be adopted, which would approve the proposed wastewater rates effective 30 days from today or on July 1st, 2020. And with that, I can take any questions that you have. And I know the city clerk is also here and has received some protest ballots. And we also have our city hall open right now. And we are receiving any valid ballots that come in up until the time that the public hearing is closed. So if somebody is right now driving down to City Hall, they can actually submit a ballot. And with that, Mayor Moreno, I can take any questions you have.
Thank you, Director. Yeah, we've been through this many times, so good summary. Appreciate that. Are there any questions of staff from the council? Councilmember Funk.
Yeah, just to clarify, you're looking at the end of this, we'll have a recommendation that is either to adopt draft resolutions A and C or draft resolution B. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, I will open up the public comment period. See if there are any members of the public wishing to speak. Luke, do we have any callers who wish to speak on this item?
We do not have any callers in attendance.
Okay. And are there any comments that were received by email to be read into the record?
We have not received any comments by email.
Okay. So the public comment period is now closed. Has the city clerk had enough time to tabulate the results?
If you will give me just a moment to check in with our door monitor for any last-minute protests, I will be able to report out.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Just a moment. Thank you so much for being patient. I just checked in and I have had an opportunity to tabulate the protests. We only received 3 protests, which means we do not have a majority.
Okay, thank you. Are there any council comments or do we have a motion to approve recommendation 2?
Well, I will move that we adopt draft resolution A and draft resolution C.
This will be in separate motions.
Okay. All right, then I move we adopt draft resolution A.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Borbeau and a second by the rest of the council. A second by Councilmember Newsom. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fonzie,
Yes.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Borbeau,
Yes.
Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And do we have a motion to approve draft resolution C?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Fonzie, a second by Councilmember Funk. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fonzie,
Yes.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Borbeau,
Yes.
Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes 5-0.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you, Director DeBar. Appreciate it. And with that, our special meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Great.
Bye. Thank you, Lou.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.